What's going on, guys? Welcome to Guns and More. Today we're gonna be talking about this Ruger EC9S and one little feature that it had that I recently took off from it due to the fact that it's a feature that's mostly needed in the state of California, and I don't reside in California right now, and the feature was getting a little bit of annoying, so I decided to get rid of it, and that is the trigger disconnect feature, which you couldn't pull the trigger if you had no magazine in the firearm. So you could even have a bullet in the chamber and it wouldn't go off. Now, I wouldn't have minded that much if it wasn't getting in the way, and it was getting kind of annoying that every time you're gonna remove the slide or do anything with the gun, you either had to have an empty magazine in it, or you would have to put a dummy magazine in it, so you could be able to depress the trigger and do what you have to do with the gun. So yeah, that was getting a little bit of annoying. So decided to take it out. So without further ado, we're gonna switch over to the next camera. I'm gonna show you guys how to take it out. Now, disclaimer: this is not a how-to per se, but just an educational video on how to do it. If you guys decide to do it on your own firearm and you mess with something, that's on you. But I'm not a gunsmith by any chance. I just like tinkering on my weapons, and I find that you guys could find that useful at some point for you, for your own benefit. So I'll share with you guys. Alright, so as you can see right now, I have no magazine in the firearm, and there's no bullet inside, and I'm able to depress the trigger. Now, the trigger safety over here still works, so you don't have to worry about that. It means you can't depress the trigger, and then once you take that off, then the trigger, you could press it and not have a problem. Now, it's pretty simple to take off, pretty straightforward. All you have to do is just basically remove the slide, and just a simple procedure you normally do. Come out. There you go. You stick out the pin from the slide. Now, this is one part where this thing used to get in the way, as you couldn't take out the slide without having to depress the trigger. So you have to put a dummy in it or an empty magazine. I used to put a little stick through here and just press the disconnect and pull the trigger. But now it's a lot more easier, because now you just pull back, then you let it go slightly, and you're able to come right off. Oh yeah, that's a big time saver for me, and that was really getting annoying. Now that you're in here, all you will have to do is just remove the two pins, and you will be able to remove your whole inner lower receiver assembly. Now, this one only has one pin here, and then one here has like a little stud, because I did added the clip for holstering the weapon. So yeah. Now, this pin is plastic and it comes right off. All you have to do is just push it with whatever you have, and there you go. Comes right off. Pin is out. And for the other one, all you have to do is just, either if you have a pin in there, you stick out the pin with the same punch or whatever you want to use for that. But I don't have a pin here no more, so I take this screw out and then just push back over here, and then just spin the stem over here and just remove it from the screw, and it's all out. Well, you know you're not that difficult in there. There you go. All right, so now that that's out, the inner side of the lower receiver is ready to come out, and just pull it up slightly. Now, mind you, you want to be careful when you're pulling it out, due to the fact that you're gonna have this little plastic cap is gonna come out. Under here, there's a safety clip, a little clip for the slide lock over here, and then over here you have a small clip for the trigger lock. This one likes to fly out. This one usually stuck in place. I wouldn't worry much about this one, but this one you want to worry about, because if you don't pay attention to it and you pull this right out and it comes out flying, it's really small and you're gonna lose it. Now, on the reverse side over here, you might feel something fly out. Nothing's really gonna fly out. On this side, you only have this metal bar that goes from back to the front. That's gonna come off. Don't worry about that. Just make sure you try to keep an eye on the orientation. But the only thing you're gonna feel over here is you're gonna feel something fly out, and it's gonna be the spring that holds this in place, that is gonna release the tension. So you don't need to take notice of that one right now, but you're gonna have to take notice on that one before you take out the trigger. So yeah, you slide this out carefully. As you can see, you got the clip right here and the clip right here. This one, don't worry about this one much. Take out this little plastic piece and just put this aside. You don't need that for now. Now this over here, as you can see, you just have this metal bar over here and this spring over here. This spring has tension in it. That's the spring that for the trigger. This one just basically likes to unwind itself. Once you take this out, you're gonna see in a second. There you go. You see, you kind of feel like something flew out of the part. Nothing flew out. It's just that this unwinds itself. So once you put this part back in, you just have to push it counterclockwise and just lock it in place. Pretty simple. Now over here, make sure you notice the orientation of this one. Has the big belly on the bottom and then the open groove on the top. Take this out carefully, not to have that thing fly out. And then just remove it from here and set it aside somewhere that it's not gonna fly out on you. I have this little magnet on the mat, so that takes care of it. And then this one, you can just remove it slowly and set it aside. Don't worry about this clip over here. This clip usually is like really stiff in there, so it doesn't really come out that easy. Now, normally you will have the magazine disconnect on this area over here. I already took mine out. I just doing this video to help you guys in case you guys wanted to take yours out. So the same process I'm doing right now is the same process you're gonna be doing. So when you have this on over here, when you get to this point, you could get it loose, but it's not gonna get past the trigger. This little belly over here is gonna get it stuck, and the only way to take it out is either cut the metal plate out. If you don't want to go further from here, which is what I did, I used this little Dremel and just cut the plate. I did one line over here and one line over here, and then just bent it and came right off. Or if you want to save that metal plate in case in the future you want to use it again, then you go ahead and you remove this pin, which we're going to remove in a second. We're going to remove the whole thing just as if we were taking it out. So you remove this pin, which this pin is going to remove this inner part of the trigger, the safety. Make sure that when you remove this pin, you be careful if this flies out, because there's a small spring in there, and that's the one that keeps this little tension over here. So we're gonna try to take that out. I might have to take it out off camera, just that I don't like banging on the desk. But we're gonna try and see if it's soft. If not, we're gonna have to take it out off camera, and then I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. Let me see if I can find a good position for this over here. That is come on. Alright, that should be good enough. Yeah, so to take this one out, you need a 1/16 punch. Just put it in here. I might take it out off camera just because I don't like making banging on the table that much. But if it doesn't come out quick, and then just tap it in here. Yeah, it came right off. There you go. Alright, so as you can see, it's already almost out. Then just finish taking it out. Oh, is it out far enough? Alright, yeah. Yeah, I just don't like banging on the table that much. We do have people downstairs, and I do not like bothering other people. Now, there you go. I had the little spring fly out, and I have no idea where it went. There you go. This is the same spring that I was telling you guys to be careful, because it might fly out. It almost flew out on me. I was able to find it. Let me see if I can put it somewhere where you guys could see it. All right, that little spring right there. That little spring basically just sits in that groove right there, just like so. That's the position that it goes in. So yeah, you set this aside, make sure you don't lose that spring. And now is when you want to look at the orientation from this one, because now you're going to be using that same 116 punch just to push up on this pin over here that's on the bottom of the trigger, which is basically this pin. And you want to make sure that when you push this out and you reinstall this in the same position that you took it out. Because if you install it in a different position, it's only going to fit in two positions. It's going to fit in this 4 and 5 o'clock position, or it's going to fit in this 7 and 8 o'clock position. And if you put it in this position, you're not going to have enough tension when you put this bar back on, and you're going to have issues. So you want to make sure that you put it in this position facing between 4 and 5 o'clock. So you just go in here, you push in this pin. It's not hard at all. It should just come right off. Just a little uncomfortable because you got this little bump over here, but yeah, just go over here and you push. As you can see, it's already off. All right. Now you can just take this pin out, but as you can see, it only has two positions. It fits in this position, or if you flip it all the way around, it fits in the other position. So now the trigger is just basically ready to come out. You get this over here and you push it from the back. Comes right out, and you're done. The trigger is out, and as soon as the trigger comes out, the metal magazine disconnect comes out. It is gonna have a small spring over here from the magazine disconnect. That's the spring that makes it go back and forth. You could take the spring out, and you could take out the stainless steel magazine disconnect out. Now once that is out, then it's just as simple as just reversing what you already did. So you'll go ahead and do that. Just put the trigger back in. Make sure you put in the orientation that's supposed to be. Make sure you take note of that. Put it in here. You take this, you slide it right in here. Just slides right in. And now, like I said, when you put the spring, you make sure the spring is in that 4 to 5 o'clock position. That way when you put the pin on top, you won't have issues with it. Alright, so we go get the pin again. Make sure you align these holes down here, which are a little tricky if you don't. Alright, so we go in here. Alright, so make sure they're aligned. And you put the pin right in. And that's good to go. Now obviously you won't have any pressure or any tension on the trigger, because the tension comes from this spring when it's locked in place. So don't worry about it. It should be loose like this right now. And now we go back to this one over here. Make sure when you install this one, this long curved part over here goes facing the outside of the trigger, and this short arm over here goes to the top. Also make sure you have this little spring inside. All right, so this just goes in here like so. Now the spring, what it does is you want to make sure that this little tab over here rests against the inside of this trigger. That's what basically makes it like swivel in and out and has a little bit of tension. So you just go in there, and you can see it has some tension in it. That's how you want it. That's how you want it to be. Then you just put the pin in. If I can just tap it in. Alright, let me just put it in here. I might want to tap it off camera. He doesn't like making a lot of noise on the desk. Alright, give me 1 second. Alright. Yeah, I just don't like tapping on the desk. Yeah, you just tap it in place, make sure that it's flush. It's almost flush. Alright, make sure that it's flush. And if you have the spring incorrectly, then you should have this little resistance over here. And once you're to this point, then everything's ready to go. So I like to install this one last because this one like to be popping off. So I'm gonna go turn this back over here. As you can see, the clip is still there. Make sure it's there before you put this in. So you go to the slide lock clip and you pull this up, or you pull the clip over here a little bit, and you put the slide lock in place. Make sure it moves freely, no problem. Same thing over here. Install this in this little notch, and then the pin. Remember how you took it out? It has the big belly towards the bottom and the open groove towards the safety pin, and just put it in that slot and press it in place. All right, and that's good to go. Now make sure that this goes up and down the way it's supposed to. You can hear it click in. So that's already in place. Now we'll turn this around, and I like to leave this on the red dot. There you go. So I could hold it over here as I'm working. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. That's why when you put these ones in, you want to make sure all right, so when I put this one in, I make sure that when I'm working on this side, I have this finger over the clip, that way it doesn't pop out by mistake. And just keep your finger over it, and you get this part over here. Make sure you have this orientation with the slot facing down, and just put it in place in here, and you put it on the trigger notch right there, and make sure that the slot is down. It doesn't matter where you put it over here, but just make sure that the slot is facing down. Now over here with this pin, you just want to push it counterclockwise, and there you go. Push it counterclockwise. It is kind of hard, and then just until it falls right in that groove under the bar, and that's basically how it should be. All right, and it flew right out. I'll be right back. That's the main reason why I like to put this one last, because this one likes to be flying out. So yeah, just put this one in there, and same thing, just push this counterclockwise. All right, now that it's in place, you're ready to drop this in. Make sure your clip is still in place. All right, and now you're ready to drop it in. So make sure you put this one in, the plastic tab, which is the one that holds the pin for the slide assembly. Just make sure that one's in place. Everything is good. Now just gently just drop it in. And basically you're good to go. Now you just put the plastic pin back in place. It goes right in, no problem. You put this little stud in the back, or your pin, whichever you have, and we're almost done. Now this thing, to screw this thing in place, is kind of annoying because you have to kind of push the clip forward because the tolerance is so tight, and then when it grabs, it kind of rubs on the frame. I don't like that, but I guess that's how it's meant to be. I don't like it just because it kind of scrapes the frame a little bit. Yeah, you just tighten it up and you're basically done. So as you can see, the trigger doesn't go in all the way. When you release the trigger lock, then it goes in all the way. So at this point, just add the slide assembly, lower the little window over here, and drop the pin right in. If it doesn't drop right in, then just go from the other side and move the little barrel piece that's in the way of the pin. There you go. And the pin should drop right in. Alright, then just close this window and you're all done. Right now, you have no bullet in there. You press the trigger, it works. It's chambered, you put the safety, nothing. Release the safety, it worked. Now, you're all done. And it's a pretty quick process. It only takes like basically 30 minutes at max. And like I said, it's not a how-to video per se. It's just an educational video in case you guys wanted to attempt to do this yourself. It's pretty simple. Just make sure that you put the parts back in the same position that they were in, and make sure that you keep an eye on the clip, because if they go offline, they're gonna get lost. And always safety. Make sure your gun is unloaded, and you should have no problem. So thank you for watching, guys, and that's gonna wrap it up for this video. And I do appreciate you guys watching the video, and please hit that like button, subscribe, and share the channel if you can. It will really help out a lot. I have other content that I'm planning to do, and right now we do have a Mauser 1911 22 caliber on order. Well, we're actually waiting for the FFL to confirm so I can go and pick it up. We're gonna be doing a video on that one. Then we also have the Darkstorm 15 rifle, which we put a new scope in it, and we should be testing it out in the range maybe this weekend or next weekend. I just haven't had time to go to the range yet, but yeah, I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and until the next one, thank you.